people wonder why they don't see any results. And it's interesting. I had a conversation yesterday with this woman, a consult call, and she was telling me how she did CrossFit, right? And she goes, I was just listening to her. I hadn't said a word. And she said, the one thing I noticed is people have been doing CrossFit for years in this particular box, and they don't look any different than they did the day they walked in.
You know what's really funny is I've had multiple people who've gone to CrossFit tell me exactly that same thing, who I've had consults or who I've had as clients, but continue.
Yeah. It's just interesting, right? They're going to something, they are sticking with it from what I understand. I'm not a CrossFitter. I've been to a CrossFit before, but the community aspect is strong. Man, CrossFit does it so well. People love going, they cheer each other on and all this kind of stuff. But it hit her that this is not, she wants to make changes. And she started noticing that. And so she wants to do something different. She's tired of doing the same thing and not seeing results, right? And so I'm sticking to something, yes, getting a structured programming, CrossFit's a class. It's a class. It's not the same as you training your client that you had outside, the other you one-on-one with that person's goals and what movements are going to be best for that person, that kind of stuff. That's a big difference than going to a class, whether that's CrossFit or whether that's, Les Mills has a ton of classes that people go to all the time. And it's the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. It really is the same thing if you think about it. So many people go to those classes and they still look the same. They love them, which is great. Keep doing them. But if you want to make changes, you got to look at, obviously you got to look at your nutrition. And then maybe if you want to build some muscle, then let's talk about ways to do that.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? What would you say are the reasons why people go to these CrossFit classes or like you said, I don't know if it's Les Mills or Les Mills, however it's supposed to be said. I don't know if it's French, maybe it's like Les Mills or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
I could ask my wife, she speaks French. But why do you think that is? Because I know my mentality is kind of just branching off of what you said. I think the main thing that those type of they're not really actually programs. They're just like workouts, right? Like you do this workout, then you do this workout, and there's no really like rhyme or reason to them. To me, I think the main problem with those is that there is no progression. Like there's no progressive overload. It's just like you do workout A, then you come back tomorrow and you do workout B, which is like the same as workout A, but just different exercises. It's the same intensity, right? Or it's different intensity, but it's random, right? Or like then you do workout C on Friday and it's always different. Or sometimes they have weekly classes where they do like the same thing, but again, there's no real like, okay, we're going to add 5 pounds here, or okay, we're going to add a set, or that doesn't really happen. And I know when I used to do group training in person, I tried as much as possible. Well, first of all, I'll say, I think that's great for like, because if you fall off or if you need to jump back on or off, or if you can't make classes, it essentially makes it so you can enter at any point and still like get on the bus, right? It's like the bus is always moving, but that bus is just moving very, very slowly, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, there's just it's great when it comes to like making it very easily accessible to people, but when it comes to, like you said, actually making like a drastic change in your body beyond a certain point, it makes it like so much harder because there's no progression there. That's the primary thing that I would see. And then the other thing would be also that you touched on is that there's no 99% of those programs, if there is any like dietary component, it's very like minimal, or it's like, here's like a list of foods you can eat, or here's like something like really, or go on the key, or something really like stupid or like not sustainable or like not actually helpful for the person who's doing the program. I think those are the two main things: lack of progression and lack of any like serious like dietary component.
Couldn't agree more. I feel like classes have a low barrier of entry, right? I mean, you can hop on, like you said, at any time. That's how I got started. I went to classes at my gym. That's what got me in the door. And so from that standpoint, bravo, get your butt in the door. If it's a class, cool, do it. Community's big and strong in classes too. And if you get the right instructor that you like, with personality, it can be energizing, and you're with a bunch of friends. I mean, there's a lot of positive there. It keeps you coming back, which is great. But classes are inherently set up for just choreographed stuff and most in general. And I'm not talking small group training. That's not a class. We're talking about you go into the exercise classroom at your gym, and there's maybe 15, 20 of you in there, right? And if you're doing a Les Mills like body pump, you have a small barbell and you plop on a couple weights on there. But tempo is upbeat in a class. Obviously, you want upbeat stuff. You have to keep everybody engaged. It's choreographed to music. You're going to do high repetitions. So the amount of weight you can actually move is going to be less as a result. And you've got one instructor who's responsible for a large group of people who cannot possibly individualize. And
that's assuming they're actually a good instructor, which unfortunately a lot of these gyms do not have any concern for quality control.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, classes are just not set up to be the same as strength training. People think they are, they're not. They can be something to do in addition to strength training. 100%. Yes, absolutely. But people think they're going to go into Les Mills body pump and build muscle just like you would if you were in a free weight section of a gym. And that's just not going to happen. And we see it day in and day out. And people get frustrated. And then the big thing, like you said, there's never a nutrition thing attached to a class unless you get a little handout like you were mentioning or something very random in general. And isn't it interesting how, and I guess this brings me back to two things. One is the difference between working out and training. You know, these classes are workouts. You hit the nail on the head. They're just these random workouts that they plug in to their classes, right? But when you actually maybe train instead of working out, you have a specific purpose. You're driven by a goal, not just, I want to get strong and lose weight. That's kind of too generic, right? When you give yourself a performance goal in the gym, I want to chin up. I personally want to row 100-pound dumbbell. So I'm working towards that in the gym, right? That drives all my work. And when you give yourself a performance-based goal, you are now training because you're driving towards that goal, as opposed to, I'm just going to go in and work out today, check the box, go home. You know, I think there's a mindset mentality there too. And I think it's that. And then
it's kind of like the entrepreneurial mindset. Sorry, go ahead.
What's that?
I was just gonna say, it's kind of like the entrepreneurial mindset of like, I'm going to go in and punch the clock versus I'm actually going to like make progress in growing myself.
100%. The difference from being productive and busy, right? I mean, two very different things. I think we've all been down both of those roads before. And then the other thing regarding nutrition, you know, people usually are in these classes because part of the reason why they're doing them is to lose weight. And the whole thing is we don't exercise to lose weight. We exercise to get stronger, build muscle, improve our heart, improve our joints, all of those. That's why we work out. But these people are working out because they want to lose weight. So I think they're chasing their tail because of that. They're not addressing the one thing they need to address to lose weight. And that's their nutrition. You know, I have that whole thing, this whole analogy I go on about the fat loss car. You know, you have a driver of the fat loss car and a passenger. And the driver of the fat loss car is always nutrition. You're never going to lose fat unless your nutrition is in check, in a calorie deficit, whatever. But we always think it's training that's driving that car. You know, training is the passenger. Training is the dude riding shotgun with the map. It's going to help you get there. And training is also going to give you a lot of other benefits. But it's not training's responsibility for you to lose weight. You know, it's the driver of the car. It's their responsibility to drive the car from point A to point B. And we flip those two roles because training's a lot easier to change, isn't it? I mean, we can add a class. We can try this. We can do this. You know, all these things we can do. Training is super easy to change that. But it's not easy to face having to change how we eat, right? And make adjustments there. So we kind of blindly don't look at who's responsible for that. And we flip these roles. And I've had conversations with people all the time that when I ask them, so tell me about your struggles. And they're saying, I'm struggling losing weight, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, so tell me about, what are you doing right now? Well, I'm lifting 2 times a week. I do HIIT 3 times a week. I run down here and I do all these things. And they go on and on and on. And they haven't even mentioned the one thing that's responsible for weight loss yet. You know, we haven't even gotten there. They've gone through this whole list of workout stuff.
Or they'll say like, okay, I'm on keto or something. And it's like that.
Yeah. I mean, we don't. And then I said, so what about your nutrition? Oh, I eat healthy.
Or that one. Yeah. I eat healthy.
Oh my God. Okay. What does that mean?
how many calories have you eaten? Oh, I don't know that. Well, how much protein are you getting? Oh, I don't track that. Like,
Yeah.
when's, do you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner? Oh, it varies. Right?
Okay, Houston, we have found our problem.